Hello, everybody. It's Paul Neeson here from the Raw Life Health Show. Thanks for joining me for the Google Hangout. I was playing around with it on my other channel, and I decided I'm going to do one for the Raw Life Health Show. As a matter of fact, folks, let me just get settled here and pardon the any disorganization while I'm doing this, but I'm going to work out all the kinks and get it. I'm going to answer your questions. I have some questions, and if you go to the Raw Life, go to rawlifehealthshow.com and post your questions there under videos. Just click on live event and you can post your questions there. And okay, so let me just lower the, hold on. There we are. We're on a little time delay, folks, so just bear with me here. But let me first, for all of you coming here to join us, round of applause. Okay, I'm learning. I learned that much, so thank you. And basically, the Raw Life Health Show is a member website, and it's very inexpensive, but I have a bunch of videos all over the internet, over 1,000 videos on YouTube. But on the Raw Life Health Show, I have more stuff there and benefits there and a whole bunch of things there. And one of the things are going to be and is I answer all the questions. Now, I try to answer some of the questions other places, but I answer all questions to members of the Raw Life Health Show. This, what I'm doing now, is eventually going to be one of the features. You could ask live questions, and we might even have some viewers on live with me while I'm doing this. I'll invite some of you into the Hangout. But this is going to be a regular feature, and every now and then I'm going to make it public, not just to members of the Raw Life Health Show, but to everyone to see and check out and ask your questions. And as a matter of fact, if you have any questions at any time, just post them below the videos and I'll get to them. It is late now. I apologize to people on the East Coast. It's just putting the kids to sleep and doing things and busy during the day. It was the only time I can get to this, but I will make it earlier next time. And you could also post questions prior to and watch it the next day and so on. So we have a good amount of viewers on now, and feel free, I said, if you are able to find this through Google Hangouts and you want to post questions there, we'll figure that out. I'll get to those. But the first place I'm going to answer questions, if you go to the website, rawlifehealthshow.com, probably where you've seen this link and probably where you're watching this right now, you could ask questions right there under there. I'll get to as many as I can. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on, but let's see how it goes here tonight. All right. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining in. And I have some questions that are repetitive, and I have some questions that are new, or some questions that aren't new, but I just haven't answered yet. So let's see here. The first question, I'll try not to read it if it's too long. And then please, folks, when you post your questions, please don't do them so lengthy. I want to get right to the question if possible. So so I don't have to take time reading through this whole thing. But the first one, I don't know, should I say the name or not? Well, I guess I will. So if you're watching, it'll catch your ear or something. I won't say the last name, but Brandy asked, in regards to a raw diet, what are your recommendations of how much of a raw diet to eat? And I'll answer it like that. I'll break it down because it's a big question she has here. And in regards to a raw diet, well, basically, a raw diet to me is somebody who's eating a raw diet. That means all of their food is 100% not cooked. It's all raw. It's not heated in any way. Some people will actually get real technical about it and say even things like dehydrated food are technically cooked, even though they're cooked at a low amount and the enzymes aren't destroyed. But raw food. So Brandy starts off, and I'm going to just correct some of the wording people say, because a lot of times people say to me, "Oh, do you have a cookbook?" I say, "No, I'm a raw foodist. Why? I don't cook." You're missing that. So okay, in regards to a raw diet. So a raw diet to me means an all raw diet. If you're eating anything less than 100% raw, that means you're eating a diet that has a lot of raw food in it, but it's not technically a raw diet. So it says, what are your recommendations of how much of a raw diet to eat? Well, that depends on every situation. For most people, it's not necessary, and it adds a challenge and a burden to go 100% raw. And if that's your situation where it isn't necessary and you're not the type of person that's disciplined to do it 100%, well, I'd say at least for most people who don't have an illness, at least 75% raw fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds in your diet. And the nuts and seeds would be better off soaked and sprouted if possible, but at least 75%. Now, if somebody has an illness, depending what type of illness that is, usually exclusively a raw diet is going to be the quickest way and most efficient way to healing, but that is not always the case. And that's a big difference between me and other raw food teachers out there that eat, or say at least they eat an all raw food diet. Me, I eat 99% raw food. So technically I'm not on raw food diet. I'm on mostly raw food. But regardless, the thing is, I know that if somebody has a certain illness, even inflammatory bowel disease, raw foods as people know it in its whole form is not the best way to do it. Yes, in those cases, maybe doing raw juices and blended food will help, but each individual is different. Each case is different, so you have to look at it that way. And a raw diet is not always the best for people that already have some things like already have a digestive disorders. Yes, raw food digests great, but again, somebody with ulcerative colitis, I say no. You can't do raw salads, whole salads. You got to do the juices, and maybe even in some cases steamed vegetables. And you want to look at this. If you're living in a cold environment, it might be better to have some warm soup instead of a raw food candy bar. And I definitely think that something like steamed vegetables is a lot healthier than something like a raw food cheesecake. So hopefully you'll get my point with what I'm saying with that. But let me continue with the question. It says, I'm doing a juice fast and afterwards want to be sure I'm cutting out all processed food out of my diet. So you're doing a juice fast. That's wonderful. And that's great that you want to cut out all the processed food out of your diet. I'm just not too sure about how much about eating a raw food diet. The fact, Brandy, that you're not sure or completely sure about it, it means I would suggest doing a little bit more research and not just doing it just to do it and see what happens, because you want to be prepared, and a little bit of research, you could have a good idea of how much raw you're going to do. You could say, well, I'm going to go 50% raw or 75% raw. And when people hear percent, they don't really know what percent means. They're not weighing the food with a scale or anything. Just picture a plate. If you have a round plate, if half of it's raw, half it's cooked, that's 50%. So 75% would be the majority of it's raw and a little bit of cooked. And you want to eat the raw food first before you eat the cooked food. We can get into questions of food combining and things like that in a little while. But so it's a good question, though. I'm doing juice. When I get up to juice, I want to know how much raw to go. I'm not really sure. She writes, I like cooked winter vegetables such as Brussels sprouts, green beans, etc., and a variety of winter squash. There's nothing wrong with those. I'm not one of these raw food teachers that says raw food is poison or cooked food is poison and cooked food's going to kill you. No, there's nothing wrong. If cooked food was as bad as so many people said it was, most of us wouldn't be here because we spent most of our life eating cooked food. It's the cooked processed junk and garbage and fast food and all these things that really create the issue. I don't see anything wrong if you're living in a cold environment, having root vegetables, winter vegetables, Brussels sprouts. Now, the way you prepare them, that's another story. There's a big difference between steaming and baking versus frying and microwaving. So these are things to consider when we look at cooked versus raw. But I would say if you're living in a cold environment, it's good that you add some steamed vegetables and possibly baked vegetables. It's fine if you want to do that and have some soups. As to what percent, you always want to eat more raw than cooked. Always, no matter who you are, where you are, and anything like that. You always want to eat more raw than cooked. So that should be the number one rule for you. And from there, how you feel is one of the ways to determine if what you're doing is working. And there are other ways like your blood work and your sleep and your digestion, and figure it out what works best for you. As I said, at least 75% is a good place to start, but definitely more raw than cooked. And it's very easy to get off that if it's a cold environment and you think, well, it's too cold to eat. Another common question I get, which I'll answer right here, right now, is why do you, how could you eat a raw food diet in the wintertime? And yes, right now I live in Florida and it's not too cold here in Florida, but I did grow up in New York and I ate a raw food diet for over 10 years when I lived in New York City. And, the thing is, raw food is not necessarily cold unless you make it cold. So if you have an apple in your refrigerator and you eat it that way, that's a cold apple. But if you have an apple sitting on your counter and your house isn't freezing inside, and most houses in winter environments are not freezing, that apple won't be cold. It'll be warm. And you can even do some things to even warm things up a little, like put them in a dehydrator, or you can put them in warm water and stuff, and you can even warm things up if they are cold. But these are just some suggestions. Raw food in the winter time. I have some videos on that, and that's a common one. And I think it's a great time to start eating a raw food diet in the winter time, because it's easy to do in the summer. But usually people do it, then they get to winter and they run into a problem. But you do it through the winter, you'll be like, hey, I got this, and then there's a year under your belt. And it's a process. You don't have to do it overnight, folks. Most people have time where they can take their time with this. There are certain cases where they do need to go immediately overnight on the most efficient, and some people say extreme diet possible, but most people aren't in that situation. So most people don't need to think about that. So going on to Brandy's question and finish it off, it says, what are your recommendations, which I gave? I was listening to a testimony of these two girls, and she sent a video link. And if you're looking at the video, and under the video, folks, right now where I'm talking, you could see her link. I'll have to answer that next time about those two girls, because I just briefly saw it for literally like 1 second before I got on when I was looking at the questions. Looked interesting, so I don't have an opinion about their testimony because I really don't know. And so now I'm wondering how to have a nutrient-rich, balanced raw food diet. Thank you. So a nutrient-rich, balanced raw food diet. Well, that's another story, because the raw food is not a panacea like people often think it is, or say it is, or promote it is. And it's you have to do it the right way. And I learned, and I believe now, that no matter what diet you're eating, the standard American diet or the raw food diet, no matter what diet, because of the processing of the food, and because man has a habit of taking what our Creator has given us and destroying it, he has destroyed the soil where the food grows, so the food doesn't have the nutrients it once had, and the food itself with the pesticides and the sprays and all this other garbage. I am pretty much convinced at this point that unless you have excellent composted soil that you're producing and keep maintaining yourself, and have fruits and vegetables growing in that soil yourself, you cannot get all the nutrients you need from a diet of just you can't get all the nutrients you need from your diet, from a raw food diet, from any type of diet. And I confirm this. I've been on a raw food diet for many years, and I took a bunch of blood tests, a whole bunch of different panels of blood tests, and there were some issues, not nowhere near major issues many people have. And I'm not just talking about B12, folks. I'm talking about, it's difficult to get all the nutrients on this diet. I'm talking about everything from the B vitamins to vitamin C. And in vitamin C, it's very difficult to get good amounts of vitamin C from just food, even from supplements, in terms of whole food supplements. You really have to do this. Folks. Pardon me, folks. My babies are crying here. You really have to do this, folks, with wisdom. And let's wait till the baby stops crying. Okay. That's what happens when you don't give your baby food at nighttime, because she's on a daylight diet. No, she eats enough. She just she shouldn't be up now, but she got up. She wanted to see Daddy here on the show. But basically, as I was saying, if anyone has kids out there, you can relate. But basically, as I'm saying here, folks, the raw food diet is the best way to go. It's going to give you the most nutrients, without a doubt. If you're eating it the right way, you're properly assimilating the food, and you're chewing the food till it's liquefied. See, folks, most people don't do that. Most people don't eat the food till it's liquefied. They don't do things like that. And this is they're fooling themselves to think that a raw food diet is a panacea. Now, it is the best way to go if you're doing it the right way, but most people that do it aren't doing it the right way, and this is why they run into problems. And look, I'd love to tell you there's one superfood that could heal all things. I'd love to tell you that the raw food diet is a heal-all, but it's not. But I can tell you this from my experience. I've been eating a raw food diet for a very long time now. And whenever I have, or had in the past, tried to experiment with adding cooked food back into the diet, I never felt as good as I feel on a raw food diet. My digestion was never as good. My sleep was never as good. And so I just know from personal experience, from science, from blood work, and from other people's testimonials that if you have the right demeanor, the raw food diet is the way to go. And I say that is that some people just, they're not passionate about raw foods. There's other diets that work. I don't think as efficiently, but they work. But you have to be passionate about what you're doing for it to work. You can't just do it to please somebody else or because you think you heard somewhere. You have to be passionate about it. And when you are, you will get the biggest benefit out of that. So, Brandy, I hope I answered your question there. And that was our first question for this live thing. Remember, if you like these, we're going to be doing more of these on Raw Life Health Show for members in the future. And every now and then we'll do it for our YouTube guests as well. So here we are. Let's get to another question we have. Bear with me, folks. We have a good amount of questions. We have another question here from somebody named John. And John's saying he's a 62-year-old male with type 2 diabetes. And by the way, type 2 diabetes is 100% diet related, pretty much. So that's something good to know. Folks, forgive me if I'm talking too fast. I'm live. Let's see here. I'm live and I'm talking fast and something's on the screen. There we go. No. Oh, that's the microphone. All right. Okay. So, and also, folks, other than your questions, put your comments below the video. Let me know what you're thinking of this, or if there's a particular topic you'd like me to talk about. Not even a question, just do a video on this topic or do something on this topic. Put those comments below the videos as well, because we could do a whole bunch more of these in the future. All right, so John is a 62-year-old male with type 2 diabetes, as well as prostate cancer, and that was treated with radioactive seeds and radiation. That was 3 years ago. And with so much going on, I'm almost overwhelmed with trying to balance my health issues with learning a new way of eating and unlearning the traditional biblical Christian background and learning more from the Bible. The whole combination of events puts me over the edge because I just don't know where to start. Well, tonight we're doing our health show, and John, I'll talk to you about where to start with diet and some suggestions I can make. And from there, I will have some hangouts from a biblical standpoint, and you're more than welcome to join us there as well. I'll be announcing them. If you're on my email list, you'll get them. But as for where to start with the diet, this is a great example. If somebody just contacted me, they were in their 40s and they got diagnosed with cancer less than a year ago. And they said they made a complete change and they're eating healthier. They want to eat raw foods and they're doing their best to do this at home. And the example I gave is when I first went to a gym many, many years ago, there was a trainer there and he showed me a couple of things to do. I said, well, now you showed me what to do. I don't need you anymore. And I could figure out the rest on my own. And he said, yeah, you know what? You probably can and you probably don't need me, but I could help you from making mistakes. And I could help you do this as efficiently as possible so you're getting the best results as quickly as possible. And that made a lot of sense to me. And I say that to the same thing with people out there, especially people that have a limited time experience, like somebody with cancer or some other type of disease. It's one thing if you're just experimenting to see new diets and see what might help and what might work. But folks, when you've been diagnosed with something like cancer, you know, your time is limited. You don't have time to fool around and figure it out. And in certain cases, there's no room for error and mistakes. So this is why I recommend going to a place like Hippocrates Health Institute, a 3-week program where you can learn in 3 weeks what most people learn in 10 years. And it's set up for people like that need to learn it more quickly and somebody to make the food for them, because I know people that are healthy and they have trouble finding time to make raw food and finding time to make juice. Now, if you're sick, you're weak, you're tired, you can't get out of bed, all the harder it is going to be for you to do something like that. So that's why I would recommend going to a place like that. Now, if you don't know about it, we have a raw food retreat happening next month. It's 3 days in South Florida, and it's beautiful weather here in South Florida, 80 degrees today. If you want to join up our raw food retreat, there's still spots left. And so for a person like John here, perfect example of somebody that will benefit from being there. Now, everyone will benefit from being there, but that's a great example. John, there are places all over the country that you can go to and things like this. But the Hippocrates Health Institute is a wonderful 3-week program. As a matter of fact, the last day of our retreat, we're going to take people to the Hippocrates Health Institute, and we're gonna have a tour there. We're gonna have a dinner there, and maybe even a lecture. And we're just gonna have a great time at the retreat. So if you're interested in a retreat, you could just go to healthwatchman.com, and you just click on at the top of the video, it's top of the site, it says a raw food retreat, and you can just click on there and get some information. So John, I hope that answered your question. I want to get to a couple more, but before I do, let me have a little fun here. Everybody, let me know how the Hangouts are going. I know there's a good amount of you online, so thank you. Let's round of applause. How's that sound? This is cool. You know, usually this late at night, this is what I hear. And some people will say usually at my lectures that we hear too, but no, I usually hear this at my lectures. Okay. We're going to continue here. Next question. Okay, Russ asks, he's a Vita doing his 8th liver flush. So he's on a liver flush doing his 8th one. And Andrew Moritz has a great book about the liver flush. Unfortunately, Andreas passed away a couple years ago. And it was a big surprise to a lot of people, because his books are amazing. Great information in his books about health in general. But his question is, Russ, the question I have is, why do all the legendary gurus, yourself included — no, Russ, I don't consider myself a guru. Please don't go there. But I do think there are a lot of self-proclaimed gurus out there. And this question is, don't people worry about liver flush? Well, Russ, I don't know where you're looking, but on my website and many other websites, on my Real Life Health Show and my YouTube page and Facebook and many of the other websites, just type in liver flush. As a matter of fact, I've had Andreas Moritz on my show a good amount of times. I considered him a good person and a friend. And talking about the liver flush, I have the book right on the side of me here. It's out here. I do liver flushes. I think they're wonderful. There's a controversy. Some people ask if they're really true, if they really work, or if that's not really the stones coming out. I certainly think they are. And you know, if you go to my website, just look, I Got Stoned, and you could look at the video there about the liver flush. But John, great question, and it's a great thing to do. I do recommend it, but that is something I do. Okay. Speaking of stoned, ladies and gentlemen, it's late now. We're here in the East Coast, and it's late. So if my eyes are red, I assure you it's because it's late and past my bedtime. I just wanted to stay up and try to do this and get this done. Some of you are saying, yeah, right. No, folks, I promise you, I mean, unless you're a cop that stops me, you might not trust me, but anyone that knows me trusts me that I am a maniac for health. And I'm not saying certain things aren't healthy. I have other lectures about this. I think actually something like juicing marijuana leaves is very healthy, the fresh leaves, and you're not getting a high off it. But unfortunately, we can't get the fresh leaves to do that. But I in no way partake in any of smoking anything or taking anything to get a high, because I'm high on life, and that's the way that is. Let me go over to another channel here and see if there's any questions. If anyone has any on the YouTube page here, there's several different outlets. I got to streamline this better next time here. So let's see. Okay. Oh, whoa, we got some questions here. What do you think about bananas as a staple food? Barack asked. Bananas as a staple food it depends. You see, there are certain different types of bananas. Again, the average banana you buy in the store is not really the ideal food, and people think it's not that bad to get unorganic bananas, but it's not the ideal thing to do. But there are different types of bananas. There's tons of different varieties. living here in South Florida where bananas actually grow, I get to taste often quite different ones. And I actually been around the world and tasted bananas that actually had seeds in them the size of papayas. So bananas are a wonderful staple food depending on the quality of the banana and what else you're doing. I'm a very active person, and I try to be and stay active, and banana is a good part of my diet currently. Somebody that has cancer or other types of disease that need to cut back on sugar, berries might be a better choice instead of bananas because they have less sugar than bananas. Bananas are a wonderful food for fuel. And they're a great food in general. As a staple of the diet, for some people in some places, I think that it is. It can be. For others, it can't. It can't be. For myself, I would say we eat currently, and there's time I went with very little fruit and very little bananas, but right now I'm exercising a good amount, and we make wonderful smoothies here in our house. So I would say on average I'm eating, depending on the different type of banana, maybe 4 or 5 bananas a day. And now I have friends and or people out there I know that eat, they say 30 bananas a day. And again, that's doable if you're riding your bike miles and miles and you're jogging and running and training like we should be doing. I think it's all right to be working really hard and giving yourself food you need to sustain that type of lifestyle. And bananas are great food for that. Forget about all the garbage sports drinks and the energy drinks out there. Get some banana, blend it with some water and dates, and you got an amazing sports drink. So it's just the quality of the bananas, and also most bananas are picked unripe and they ripen off the tree, and that's not the ideal. It's better to get it on the tree if you could. But even more important is now you buy it, and not only do you buy it unripe, most people eat them unripe. So it's better to eat them when they're spotted black or almost black instead of just eating them when they're yellow. I mean, just completely yellow. So, but there are different varieties, different types, and there are a lot of people in the raw food movement today that use bananas as a staple of their diet. And all I could say is they appear to be doing good and successful on it. And you can't argue with results, folks. That's the bottom line. I think for me, 30 bananas is 30 bananas or 30 of any piece of fruit is to excess. I like more variety than just eating one food, but it's not for me to say it's not good for them. I mean, again, you can't argue with success, and these people claim to have success. And I'm sure some of them are sincere and honest, and others are confused, but who knows? But I think it's a good staple. To answer your question, the question was about if bananas are a good staple. So let's see. Somebody asked, they see no place to comment except on YouTube, in which there are no comments. So I don't know whether you can see them. Well, again, I'm figuring this out. It's the first time I'm doing this. The best place to comment is if you go to Raw Life Health Show, there's a video link at the top, and click on that, and then it'll take you to a drop-down box, and it'll say Paul Neeson Live. That's the best place to go to do that. Or you can post them under the YouTube video here, and I'll get to them as well. So Zane asked, the wonderful work of kale can do help with diabetes. That really wasn't a question; it was a comment, I guess. And Zane, I love kale. I personally love kale more than bananas. Actually, my diet is bananas and kale. That's the majority of things I eat on a regular basis. Lately, I've been eating more arugula than kale. But if anyone that knows me and is close to me, and you said, what 2 foods over the last couple of years have you seen Paul Neeson eating the most? I would say they would tell you bananas and kale. And I just love both of them. And so that's I actually don't love bananas. Bananas is a food that is the most accessible food to me when I go to a store and there's a whole bunch of junk and white flour products and cooked food. It's usually the one fruit that's always available. And I don't know what it is, but sometimes you can never find a ripe banana, so that really stinks. But there's really not much fruit out there unless you know where to go. And thankfully, I have some fruit trees out here, so I can grow kale, I can grow collards and things like this. Next question is from Araha. Beautiful name, by the way, Araha. How do you get started on a raw food diet? Uh, I wrote my book, The Raw Life, back in 2000, and The Raw Life is is a book I wrote for people that are looking basically to get started. It's interviews with people that have been eating a raw food diet for many, many years, and those people sharing their testimonials. And also, I'm a boxer, or at least I used to box when I was younger, when I was writing the book. And I used the scenario of you're a boxer and it's a fight. You got to fight against Liver Man, you got to fight against Chicken Man, against Cook Food Man, and all these people, and you got to knock them out. When I was writing this book, my editor at the time, or at least the person that was helping me with the book, said, "Oh, I think this is too childish. No one's going to get it." I said, "Well, no. When people are learning how to eat uh, or change something or change your diet, you have to teach them like children." Today, there's a whole bunch of raw food books out there, but back then, this book was one of the first books out there, and when it comes to raw foods, or at least one of the most common books out there. And today, still, people are ordering it, a lot of them, just to get the information, to get how to start a raw food diet. It's great for people that have been doing it a long time as well. For what I did, I got a raw food recipe book. Remember, it was Dining in the Raw by Rita Romano. And I took that book and I pretty much made every recipe in the book. And the ones that were easy and I liked, I kept. And the ones that were more difficult, maybe I made them on special occasions. But back then, there weren't as many raw food recipe books out. And to this day, her book is still my favorite one. And it's just amazing that she's actually the raw food chef at my raw food retreat that we're going to be having in February. Just amazing. But I opened up a restaurant in New York City, a raw food restaurant, and I also worked in one of the biggest vegetarian restaurants in New York City, using pretty much her book. But you can get just a whole bunch of recipe books, make a whole bunch of different recipes, and the ones you like and are easy to make, those are the ones you can do and enjoy. Now, you'll see my other videos. The more you get into this, raw food recipes aren't the healthiest way to go, but if it's better than McDonald's, so it is a step in the right direction. So that's something I recommend. Let's go look at some other questions here. That was a good question, and I know that deserves a much bigger answer. How do you get started on a raw food diet? But that's why I do what I do, actually, is to help people realize how to get started on a raw food diet. And I want people to have a passion about it more than anything. So let me see what's happening here. We have some new questions. Okay, Karen asked what we suggest for, and by the way, again, sometimes I'll answer questions on the YouTube page, but if you're a member of the Raw Life Health Show, it's only try it out for $1. You get 3 days. You can check out the site and you get a whole bunch of free gifts. But I answered many of these questions already on there previously, and I also have my full lectures on there, and I will continue to answer questions on there for members. So, Karen, what do you suggest for correcting hypothyroidism, the low thyroid function? Well, I have met a good amount of people with this issue, and raw foods help sometimes, but again, it's not a panacea, especially in this area. Supplementation can definitely help, and it's not something, again, a Hippocrates health diet has some sort of success helping people with this. But instead of giving you the best answer of what I suggest, I'm going to tell you who I suggest. If you're looking at it from a diet standpoint, I definitely think if you haven't taken out your thyroid already, and because lower and higher, some people have too high, some people have too low, some people are getting it taken out. Some people actually will start with one and it'll turn into the other. I think instead of how to handle it, I'll say who to handle it. Dr. Fred Bisci. It's Fred Bisci, BISCI.com. Or just look at Fred Bisci on Google. I think his website is drfredbisci.com. But he will tell you the best thing to do for you in your situation. It's a lot more than just what food to eat, and in terms of who you are, where you are, what you have been eating, and so on. So he's the person I suggest you get in touch with, and he can answer, give you direct details, and be careful about, Karen and everyone else out there, please, whether it's this issue or other issues, please be careful about just going online. It's good to ask, but remember, somebody, including myself, can't give you an answer to everything in 5 minutes, and it's worth the time to pay somebody like Dr. Fred Bishop, who has the experience. Just because we go to doctors that they take our insurance so we don't have to actually physically pay them. Yes, we're paying our insurance, but we're not paying them. We think, well, I'm not going to pay somebody for this. And I'm not saying, Karen, you're doing this or suggesting this. I know you're just innocently asking me a question. But I remember when I met somebody when I was first started out who had colitis as well. And I recommended them contact a fellow who's helped me and was helping other people get better from colitis. So he called him. The first thing the person said is, before I speak to you, I'll speak to you for a whole hour, but it's going to cost you $50. So the person called me back. I said, well, how'd it go? He said, well, I hung up on the person. All he wanted was my money. So why would you say something like that? Because he asked me for $50 to talk to me for a whole hour. How many doctors that you see for 2 seconds and your insurance is paying them hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and you're paying your insurance hundreds and hundreds of dollars? Basically, what I'm saying, folks, is I know not everyone has $50 for an hour, but it takes time to figure these things out, and going to something like Dr. Fred Bishop is definitely worth it, and I suggest them. And there are things like, if somebody has ulcerative colitis, I do my best to help people and talk to them about that. But everyone has to prioritize what they're doing, and we got to be careful with that. Now, somebody's telling me they're getting no sound. I assume other people are getting sound. I really hope they are, because I've been talking away here for quite a while. Maybe somebody can comment under the video and let me know that they're getting sound. And let me look somewhere else to see if we can see where else people might be asking questions. Okay, they're not asking questions there. Bear with me, folks. Let's see. I am going to put on, if everyone's getting sound. Yes, there's not a real way to tell if you're getting sound or not. Can you hear this? Okay. All right, you guys, let me know if you hear that, and then I'll know. So he's going to log out and log back in. Okay, here's another question from Pam. No. Oh, by the way, John, no, you don't need to be a member to hear the sound. That's a pretty good idea, actually. No, let me stop. Okay, I'm going to have fun with those. Okay. Okay, concerning raw food parasite, how do you protect yourself from parasites when consuming raw food? Well, if the food is organic, which I recommend, there's going to be bugs on the food. And parasites can be in most food that is not clean. So cleaning the food would be the way to go. But sometimes you can clean it so much that you're taking some of the good bacteria actually off of there as well. But there's no real way to protect your food other than washing it, maybe soaking it, just like you would do normally. But raw food is a little bit more susceptible. Is a little bit more possible that you can get a parasite from it. But here's the thing: we all have parasites, folks, but they can only thrive in somebody's body who is created an environment for them to thrive. Now, there are certain parasites people might get where, regardless of how they're living and how they're eating, they're still going to suffer from it. But the parasite is looking for a particular type of environment, or at least the most common parasites are. And if your body is not a good host for them, they're not going to last there. If you're doing cleansing, if you're doing enemas and colonics, if you're doing herbal cleanses, and if you're eating healthy, it's not a good environment for parasites. If you do get a parasite, you can do some natural parasite herbs and things like this, and you can get better from that. So a parasite is it's not necessarily connected to raw food as much as we think it is. I mean, I've been eating this way now for over 20 years almost, and to my knowledge, I haven't gotten a parasite, and if I had, it didn't affect me so much where it was gonna stop me from doing something. Okay, so let's see here, more questions. I appreciate your question, guys, and I'm trying to get to as many as possible here. And thank you. Okay, John got sound again. How to make sweets without flour? Great question, Marcus. How to make sweets without flour, and or how to make raw food desserts without flour? I laugh and I say, you could take dates, medjool dates, and you could mix anything with them in a blender, and it's going to taste amazing, amazing. And if you don't believe me, put enough dates in with anything, and I'm telling you, you could stick a slipper in there or a sock and blend that up with dates, and it's going to taste amazing. So that's how you make sweets, pretty much. You use you use dates when you're making desserts. Now, a lot of people today in the raw food movement will use agave nectar. Folks, agave nectar is not a good food. It's not healthy. You might as well save yourself money and buy corn syrup if you're going to use agave nectar. And some people don't like to hear that, but that's the facts. And you can look more online about that, but dates are the way to go. What I recommend, Marcus, is getting well, on the Raw Life Health Show, I have actually recipes, me making raw food desserts and videos, but you can go yes to YouTube and see other people making them. Get a good recipe book. Get Rita Romano's recipe book, or Dining in the Raw. You know, at our raw food retreat, we're actually going to be it's going to be food demos, it's going to be lectures, and we're also going to have raw food recipes for our meals. But we're going to have at least 3 to 5 food demos for the 3 days of the raw food retreat. I mean, that is, it covers all the bases. We have some of the best raw food chefs in the world that are going to be there. And I'm not pushing you to come to my retreat, folks. I'm just saying there are places out there like what I'm doing. Go to Meetup or go to a raw food potluck. And you could see other people made something and just get the recipe from them. Now, some people say they don't know their way around a kitchen, so they're not good with making recipes. Look, if you want to be a raw food chef, you just have to know how to press some buttons. Because all it is, you know, I always laugh when somebody wants a raw food demo. I said, you know, to make a raw smoothie, you want a raw food demo? Okay. You're just throwing fruit in a blender and blending it up. It's not difficult. You're just mixing the food. You're not cooking it. It's quite simple and easy to do. But a good recipe is a great way to start. Okay, Marcus? Good question, though. Let's see here. Let me get to another question. Somebody says, what vegetables and fruits should be used for autism? Well, it's a good idea in your thinking, because health doesn't begin with what we add to our diet. It's what we eliminate. Eliminate the things that are creating a problem, and the problem will begin to go away. As for eating food for a particular condition, there's no superfood. Yes, we need to eat foods the best possible. And I would say the best things for autism, other than the idea of eliminating things that are adding to the problem, but the best foods for autism, or the best foods for anything, would be the fruits and vegetables that are in season. If you can get them locally grown and eat them ripe, if they've been picked when they were ripe versus unripe, the better off you're going to be. Follow the suggestions to my daylight diet. That definitely helps. And then there are other supplements that can help with autism. There's some supplements out there. There's one called Ambertose. It actually helps the cells communicate better, and I hear people have good success with that with autism. Going to a natural herbalist instead of going to a doctor for medicine, maybe to help until you figure it out. But if your child is young enough and he's had vaccinations, maybe not continuing them would definitely help. You know, the bad news is it's very difficult for a parent to live with a child with autism. To be honest, it's very bad for hard or difficult for parents to control any children because they're so hyper. But as parents, that's what we do. We learn how, we deal with it, we figure it out, and we do that. But it's possible. The good news is, folks, autism is something that diet does help with. And we want to eliminate the processed sugars. You want to eliminate the hidden sugars that are in things like frozen pizzas and frozen foods and things you wouldn't think they were hidden in. Even if you buy like healthy, fresh fruits or vegetables, and then you see in the back and the ingredient there is sugar in there or something. So eliminating the white sugar, the processed sugar, and eliminating caffeine. So you get caffeine and sugar in what? Soda. So no soda. Try to go on green juices as much as possible, and these things can definitely help with autism. There's a lot of information out there on the internet about that. Thanks, Mark, for saying you could hear me, and thank you, Amanda, as well. I'm enjoying this here. On a future Hangout, maybe I'll invite some of you on, and we could actually talk and have a conversation. I didn't want to do that yet for the first one. Maybe we will at the end. For those of you that stick around, maybe we'll have some fun, and I'll give you the link to try to invite you onto the Google Hangout. Maybe we'll do that. So now the question, Mark asked a great question. Why not talk about fresh foods rather than raw? Raw just seems to have a weirdo, wacky thing. Fresh juice makes sense. It's what we did growing up in the farms without knowing it. I'm new to all of this. Mark, that is an excellent point. I got to give you a sound effect here, Mark. And I'm going to tell you why it's such an excellent point. Let's give Mark a clap, of course. Okay, Mark, the reason why that's such a great point is I made a video not too long ago that says why I no longer promote a raw food diet. Because the raw food today is a whole bunch of junk food. It's a whole bunch of raw junk food, raw candy bars, raw cakes, raw chocolates, and all this other stuff that's really not healthy for the body. But I promote a fresh food diet. A diet where the food is raw, ripe, fresh, and organic, what people have always been doing without even knowing they were doing something other than being healthy and eating the way they should and where we're designed to eat. And then raw food came along, and when I ate raw food diet, when I was getting into this, it was just that, raw, ripe, fresh, organic fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Today, it's just crazy out there, and that's why I don't necessarily promote a raw food diet. I promote a fresh food diet. Great point, Mark. And it's amazing you're new to this and you haven't seen my videos on that, but that's great. Good one. Okay. Amanda and Mark, you're asking these questions, and anyone else, you're telling me you're getting sound. Thank you very much. And let me know the picture's good and everything else is working out good here. And let me, if anyone has the capability, since this is the first time I'm doing this, I'm also on Google Hangouts. And I'll send out the link maybe for you guys since it's so late and some of you are hanging in there. And maybe I'll send out the link, and if any of you are on Google Hangouts, I don't know if I have to personally invite you or if you could just click on the link and then you become part of the conversation. But I will send out that link, and maybe you could be part of that conversation. We'll see. Maybe I could put some of a connected faces with the names other than on Facebook. Maybe we can connect there. So let me swing over to another board here, and I see some more questions here. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got a good amount of questions. We are here on the YouTube page. Okay, we're going back to. Okay, Colby, sound check A+, thank you, and I hear you fine. Boy, this is great, folks. This is a whole new world here with this Google Hangouts. We're gonna have some fun with this. Somebody asked me, have I heard of frankincense oil? I know it isn't a food, but I just wanted to get your views. Nice beard, by the way. Well, thank you very much for telling me how nice my beard is. Yes, of course I heard of frankincense oil. It comes from the Bible, bro. The Bible is, I'm very big, and my wife's very big in essential oils in general. Essential oils are a wonderful thing, and frankincense oil is a great oil as well, and all essential oils are. As for the beard, okay, people were asking me why I decided to shave my, well, I didn't shave, I'll never shave. Sorry for saying that curse word for folks. People asked me why I decided to trim my beard, because about a month ago, my beard was down to where my hands are. Literally. And the question came, why did I trim it, or why did I decide to trim it? I even have videos talking about how we shouldn't trim our beard. We should definitely not be shaving as men, and there's a health thing behind it. But as for the question of why I trim my beard, I had been growing it now for about 5 years straight. I've always had a beard on and off. There were times over the past I would shave and for maybe 1 month, but pretty much for the last 15 years I've had a beard on and off, mostly on. I never let it get as big. It was only the second time I let it get near that big, but it was 5 years I was growing it, and within about the first 6 months, it grew mostly. It grew. Most of it grew within the first 6 months. After that, it grew slowly, maybe over the last couple of years, maybe an inch or two. But as it was growing towards the end there, and as it slowed down, it was getting pretty sloppy. And I'm a big advocate, or was a big advocate, of having a nice mustache that I could twist. I even had handlebars on my mustache. So if you haven't seen me with that, you know I love the beard and I'm all about the beard. And it was just getting a little sloppy, so I'll say. And I don't really care about other people's viewpoints on it, because I have a very uh, emotional time with people that say things like, "Oh, you look terrible with a beard," or "A beard looks terrible, or that's homeless," or something else. I mean, Duck Dynasty did a great thing for the beard, because now instead of people calling me homeless, they were saying, "Oh, you look like those guys from Duck Dynasty." But it was just getting a little sloppy. It was not hard to maintain. I was used to it. I really loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of, my wife never asked me to cut my beard. She never asked me to trim my beard. But she was not too happy with beard hairs all over the house. And some men, maybe their hair doesn't fall out as much, but with my beard, I mean, it was out there, and it was long, and everywhere you go, you see beard hair all over the house. So, being so humble and wonderful, my wife never asked me to do anything about the beard that was on my face, but she told me to control my beard that was off my face and all over the house. So that was a little cumbersome, doing that, getting cleaning up all the time and doing that. But as for eating and everything else, I just love my beard, and I think it's a great health thing. I think all men should have beards. But it basically took me about 6 months to grow the good amount, majority of my beard. And I just decided, I was thinking of it, and I actually trimmed it. And for me, it was difficult to, but the first time I trimmed it was a couple of months ago. I trimmed it about a half an inch, and it was neater. It was much neater. But it still had certain things, like I said, with the hairs around and everywhere, that I had to, I want to make my life easier, and I want to keep my wife as happy as possible. And I'm so blessed that she had never asked me, and I'm live here, folks. I'm telling you live the way it is. She never asked me to shave or to cut it or to even trim it. And I think any woman watching now, and your husband decides he wants to grow a beard, you need to let him do what our creator put there and let him grow. He doesn't ask you to cut your long, beautiful hair, so don't tell him to cut his beard, or shave. He doesn't tell you to shave your head, so don't tell him to shave his beard. Regardless if you like it or not, my wife, she didn't hate it, but she didn't love it. But it wasn't about her, it was about me. It was about, I just decided, somebody really woke me up when they said to me, they said, "You can always grow it back." And I was stuck on this thing, but it took me 5 years to grow. I can't just grow it back overnight. It took me 5 years. I was stuck on that. And when I got past that, and I started looking at some old videos of myself, and I said, wait a second, it really took only about 6 months to get the majority of the length. Where if I would have kept it that long, I would have trimmed it up a little, and it would have been of that 6 month length, which would have been maybe, I don't know, around right here or so. And so I was now I became curious. When you trim the beard, does it grow fast? Because I want a long beard. I want my beard to be down to my feet. I want a long beard. I love a long beard. But I became to get curious. If do you cut a beard? If you trim a beard, does it grow faster, or not? And some people said yes. Some people said no. So I was wondering this. So I trim my beard. I'm seeing if it's growing faster or growing not. But I just began to get curious. Well, if I did trim it, and I would never shave it. I don't want to use that curse word, but when I did trim it, how long would it take? Would it come back quicker now that I had it, or would it take longer to come back? And now it's been about a month out, and and it's moving pretty quickly, folks. I have a friend, Mike Potts, online. He has a really big beard, and it was his 1 year beard, and beautiful, beautiful beard. And he trimmed it up recently, but it's still nice and long. And but there you go, folks. I never had a major reason why the beard didn't get in my way. My wife didn't tell me I need to do this or else or anything like this. I just decided it was time for an experiment. Does that mean you'll never see me with a big beard again? No, 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 no. And I found it funny, all the people that said, "Oh, I'm so glad you trim your beard." I knew exactly who they were going to be, because I don't want to call it vanity, folks. I really appreciate when people out there tell me, you look better without this, you reach more people without this. I care, about how you look and what you're doing. I appreciate people because I know that they're saying something sincere, or they're thinking something sincere, but the words that are coming out of their mouth are so vain in what they're saying, they don't realize it. So I'm not getting on anyone's case for calling you vain. I'm just saying you don't realize it, so you're not vain, but the words that come in your mouth are vain when you say, "Oh, I'm so glad you got rid of that. I'm so glad you did this." And if you think like that, it's like, I remember some lady said that, "Oh, husband should shave his beard. I don't like the way it looks." And she said to that other lady, "Who cares? It's my husband. I don't care what you like or what you don't like." But I understand, folks. I'm a public figure, so it's and I love my beard, so people are curious, but nothing special, folks. No, it was a big thing for me. It really was. I tried to just do it, and I didn't have to tell anyone because it's going to grow back fast. I got to take a vacation for 6 months and just did old videos but I decided I'm just going to do it, and we'll see if it's going to come back, if I'm going to trim up the mustache or not. We'll see. But you know what? It's a great sign to say the fact that we take it off and our creator keeps putting it there means we should leave it alone. I don't have any issue with trimming hair or trimming beards. When you destroy it, then there's a health issue, there's a physical issue, and there's a spiritual issue. And so that's what we need to be careful. And that's not just for men shaving, that is for women also. When you shave your legs, shaving your underarms contributes to breast cancer. You need to look that up. And maybe you'll stop doing this ludicrous practice that so many people do. Okay, so let me continue with the questions. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Colby says, I recently went mostly raw and find myself craving more fats. Comments on the whole plant and fattier foods in the diet. Well, if they're raw fats, that's okay. And if you're living in certain environments or you're doing certain things, some people's bodies are different than others. And that's why when somebody says there's one way for everyone, I say, no, 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 folks. It's different. There were times where I ate more fat in my raw food diet than I do now. As for percentages and what works best for us, I have to laugh when I hear about, oh, this percent of this percent is best for everyone. No, there's so many different variables there, and it's different. If you're craving more fats, well, consume more fats. But whatever you're doing with your raw diet, it's important to make sure you're monitoring your blood work to make sure you're getting what you need. And even if you're getting the food, you still might not be assimilating it. So monitor the blood work, folks, and don't go to a standard doctor because their blood work is a joke. I can't. The place I go and a featured speaker at our raw food retreat is going to be Dr. Shandell. If you go to his website, www.caprofile.net, you can see information with Dr. Shandell and about his longevity blood profile test. And that's what I do to make sure I'm getting what I need. And that's what I recommend. And there's a bunch of videos from him on my website. And he's going to be at our retreat coming up. If you're joining us late, we have our raw food retreat next month in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's going to be just wonderful. And the speakers there are amazing. And you'll see for yourself what I'm saying. Let's see. Somebody says, I've been working on getting off thyroid medication. Finally got off it successfully after a series of 3-day fasts. I've heard I've heard that fasting damages metabolism. It doesn't damage it. It's gonna slow it down. It's gonna People say, well, it'll speed it up. It'll speed it up. I don't want to slow it down because I'll put on weight and so on. It's quite interesting, folks, the way the body works, but we don't have to know the ins and out of that. Uh, History speaks for itself, and there's enough results. Fasting is better than medication. Thyroid medication is what's going to destroy not only your metabolism, even though people think it's going to keep that under control. No, it's going to destroy your metabolism. It's going to destroy your thyroid and destroy your health in the long run. Fasting is a wonderful thing to do. And yes, there are some people like type 1 diabetics, maybe people that are taking thyroid issues and are still on the medication that might have issues with completely fasting for that time. But there's a way and there's a will. You'll get the benefits of the fast. But I highly recommend when you do fast, especially if you're doing it to get off a medication or something, to go to somebody or have somebody coaching you that has some type of experience with it, and they could help you be more successful or do it more efficiently and be healthy with that. So you want to keep that in mind. Somebody asked. The next question, somebody says, what do you think about the effect of fasting periodically, dry fasting, on adrenal health? Well, dry fasting is something that another speaker at our retreat talks about, Dr. Koifman. He's from Russia, and it's quite common in Russia. Dry fasting is something that's even more extreme than fasting. The more extreme something has, you're going to have more extreme results. That is for the better and for the worse. So, if you know somebody who's experienced in it and they're coaching you, I think it's a good thing to experiment with for some people. I have experimented with it, and I know other people that have as well. Fasting is bad on adrenal health. Not if you do it the right way. It's not. It'll actually help you if you do it the right way. If you do it the wrong way, yes, it could be bad on a lot of different things here. So Valerie says, "Here all just lip sync doesn't drive with the voice." Oh, really? I know I'm off. I know I'm off on a little time delay, but you're saying the lip sync doesn't drive with the voice. Well, let's see here. Let's see. Whoa, 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 everybody! Look at that beard. Look at that beard. I'm having just a little fun here. And see that's a small one. Let's see the lip sync. Let me see. We could all look a little bit different. Dr. Seuss in the house. All right, I'm just getting crazy here. It's way too late at night. Let me I can't do anything about the time, folks, on a lip syncing. So I'm about to answer a couple more questions. I'll see if I could let any of you in as a test. If anyone has a suggestion on, and do I have to actually invite you or not? I think you have to be in my circle in Google Plus. So that part I'm still figuring out. Looking all over for the normal comment section. It does not pull up here for the live webinar. Well, Valerie, just post it under the video, and I'll get it. I'm checking it because if I invite you to the Google page, you can put some comments there. But this will do. This is just fine. Somebody's asking me what percent fat is in my diet. I don't count my calories. I don't count my fat. I don't weigh it out. I have a good amount of videos online about what I eat on the average day. Some people have even went to the task of telling me what my fat content was and wasn't. And I don't think it's important for me to know if I'm getting what I need and doing what I'm doing. I don't eat much food in general, and I don't eat much fat in general, but I live in a tropical environment, so I don't need to. When I lived in a colder environment, I ate a lot more. So got that. Valerie N said, I see no place to comment except YouTube, which there are no comments. I don't know whether you can see. Yeah, Valerie, I see your comments. If she's still there, because yeah, she's there. So yeah, Valerie, I see your comments. But the best place to go, folks, is Raw Life Health Show, rawlifehealthshow.com, and go on the videos. Just click on live video event, and you'll see me there. So that's the best place to go. Let me double check here for any questions. I'm going to go there. One more place. I'll see if there's any questions here. I want to thank you guys for hanging in there and staying up with me. If you're on the West Coast, it's earlier, so you don't have to. Not. I hope you're not eating right now. That's one thing. It's one thing to stay up late, but you shouldn't be eating when you're up late. Keep that in mind. Okay. Got a couple more questions here. Then I'm going to open it up to some of you so you can come on in. Hi, Paul. You keep breaking up. I'm sorry, folks. I'm doing the best I could do. What do you think about kelp for iodine? Sea vegetables are excellent for iodine. They're good. Okay. Okay, here we go. Patrick says he's from Oregon. His aunt, 59, was diagnosed with melanoma. Your thoughts between Gerson and Hippocrates Health Institute? Seems to be a lot of good testimonials with Gerson for melanoma. What to give her the best direction? Patrick, I know Gerson's therapies and what they do, and yes, they have good success with good things. I'm biased towards Hippocrates Health Institute. I go there often. I live close by, and I think they're wonderful. And I think she'll probably be okay at either place, but at Hippocrates, they teach her for the rest of her life how to stay healthy and what to do, and I would recommend both. It's really up to her. Present both places to her. Give her the information. Show her the videos to both places. The ideal thing would be to go to both places. Maybe to take a tour around both places and see it. But I know that's not practical. But I'm biased to Hippocrates, so I would suggest Hippocrates Health Institute. And a good amount of the people that are teaching at Hippocrates will be at our raw food retreat next month. It's a 3-day retreat. So and we're going to go to Hippocrates for a talk for the end of the retreat. So maybe have guys come out here, do the retreat, and go to the tour at Hippocrates, and then you could decide if that's the way to go or not. If not, maybe you can go to the other place. Okay, let's see. We have Mary's asking a question. She changed her diet in September. She lost 32 pounds. That's wonderful. And she's working towards raw and maybe 50% so far. Way to go. You're on the right track. I eat cashews and almonds every day, not soaked but raw. And I have had continual running nose, sneezing, sinus congestion like cold, but it's going on for 6 weeks or so. It affects me every night. Do you think my histamines are up from them? I have never had allergies, but feel like it must be an allergy. Well, Mary, I don't know much about, even though you lost 32 pounds, I don't know how much you were to begin with, but I can say that to me sounds like a detoxification. Now, a detoxification and a deficiency can have similar symptoms. But when your nose is running like this and you have cold-like symptoms, that's pretty much what a detoxification is. And I think it sounds like it's a good thing and you're working in the right direction, especially if you lost the weight. Again, I don't know how much more weight you have to lose or where you're coming from, but it sounds like the common symptoms of detoxification. Stay on the right path. Don't be careful with the cashews and the almonds. I doubt they're raw, even though they say they're raw. And it might be better to soak them. And this is a great example when you're detoxing, folks. If you do juices, if you drink juices, vegetable juice and things like this, and not eat solid foods, it's going to speed up the detoxification. And if you eat heavier foods, it might slow it down. So if somebody like Mary went back to eating the way she used to eat, she might get a stomach ache or something, but basically her detox might slow down and she might be deceived to think, well, now I'm better now, so I need to eat this other junk food. No, that's not the case, Mary. Stay the course. 6 weeks is a good amount of time, but remember, you most likely been putting things in your body for much longer than that, many, many years, and your body's getting rid of those things. I don't know enough, though, if you were on medication, if you had any other illnesses and things like this to comment too much on what you're going on, but cold-like and sinus-like symptoms are often a sign of detoxification. And Amanda's mentioning bentonite clay. I think Redmond clay is a wonderful product, and everyone should be taking it. It's called Redmond clay, Redmond clay. You can go to my web store at rawlife.com and see it. Yes, people have had great success with that for autism. Thank you, Amanda, for that, for sharing that information. And let's see. Okay. I'm going to take a couple more questions here, and then I will try to open up and see if we can get anyone on live, maybe one or two of you, and we can get your faces on. If anyone's on Google Plus or something, I'll send out the link so you can try to get on. So some of these, how can we find an oncologist? We're trying to save and beg money to get my wife to Hippocrates Health Institute, diagnosed with gallbladder cancer. She already had a huge successful surgery and have found one natural family doctor, but how do we find an oncologist who knows and understands the concept of doing no harm and letting our food be our medicine? We're convinced our creator would not be pleased with the chemo and radiation. We're totally changing our lives and our 7 children still at home. We read your book, Health According to the Scriptures, and wife attended 5 days at Hallelujah Acres. So we're learning as fast as we can. Great question, Mark. And let me break this down for you, first of all. Um, Hippocrates Health Institute is not inexpensive, folks. It's a good amount of money. It's a great thing to do for maintenance. It's not a panacea. It's a great way to go, and I believe the best chance we have if we're in certain conditions like this. As for going to doctors to get tested, Dr. Schindel has something called a cancer blood profile test. And that I would recommend before going to any oncologist and letting them do any kind of testing to you at all. I feel strongly that his tests are the best way to diagnose and also monitor cancer in the body to make sure everything's working well and everything's good. And to learn more about his cancer blood profile test and see his interviews on my site, I would definitely look at him before looking at a doctor, or he is a doctor actually, but before looking at an oncologist or someone else who's medically trained to just burn, cut, and destroy parts of the body. Hippocrates Health Institute does have a scholarship program for people that need to be there but don't have the money. You could work with them on that, contact them and work on them with that. If you contact the Hippocrates Health Institute, anybody listening, give them my name. When you call them, that you heard it from me, and let me know, and I can get you some type of discount possibly, or some gift or something that's going to help you with your stay there. But a lot of the teachers at Hippocrates are going to be at our 3-day retreat in February. There's Dr. Tom there, Nurse Tom, who's actually overcome cancer himself. He's going to be teaching there, and Rita used to be the raw food chef there. So if you can come to that retreat, and Dr. Schindel is right down here, you can do both at one time. Now, again, folks, I know it's not feasible for everyone to get all the way out here or to travel and these things, but where there's a will is a way, and I think you're doing the right thing by praying, Mark, and I pray for your wife as well. And I have a strong feeling, one way or another, we'll all be meeting soon, and your wife will be pleased with the will of our Creator for her and for your family. So hang in there, Mark, and thank you for joining us live on this show here. And if you're still having trouble figuring it out, who to find or what to do, contact me, and we'll talk more about that and find that out. So Sharon says I keep breaking up, folks. I'm so sorry about that. Doing my best here. Hopefully on a rerun it won't break up. Okay, so Let's see. So let's go now to, if anyone is on the page of the Google Plus page, I actually says there actually are people. So let me go double quick check here, YouTube, see if anyone else has any questions or comments before I invite some people in. It's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to post in the comments under the Raw Life Health Show page and under the YouTube page. I will post the comments, the link for Google Plus, so you can come in and maybe get on the air if you're familiar with Google Plus, and I can invite you here now. Now, if you liked what we did here tonight, I'm going to be doing it on a regular basis for members of the Raw Life Health Show. rawlifehealthshow.com. If you're not already there, check it out. For the main benefit, you're getting these Q&A, and I'll be talking to you on a regular basis about these things. Remember, there's a lot of people out there teaching about the raw food diet and health, but not a lot of people out there that are doing it from a standpoint of where they were sick, and they want to see people better, and it's a little different because it's not just knowing physically what to do. It's also an emotional thing attached to that. That's why a lot of the teachers at my retreats and a lot of the people I interview, I like to interview people who have been through that experience, or somebody close to them has been through it. So they're not just connecting the physical part of it, they're also connecting the emotional part of it. It's one thing to say, if I ever get cancer or I ever get diabetes or something, I'm just going to do this. But it's another thing when a doctor tells you you have 6 months to live unless you do what they tell you to do. And I know it's we're not all going to act in the same way to that, but that's some pretty tough news to hear. I recently interviewed my friend Dr. Caldwell. I put a snippet of that on YouTube, but on the members website, a longer interview about his story and his family and his cancer with them. You need encouragement, folks, and I believe a big part of why people succeed or fail when they have cancer is taking a doctor's word for it and getting depressed, or knowing that there's a better way and keep searching for that better way. And I think it's a big part of the healing process that needs to be considered. So let me, and my heart goes out to anyone there that has any ailments that are nagging them, and I pray you get well. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing here, to get this information out to everyone. So let me get you the link here, and let's test this out so we can, in the future, maybe do this more officially somehow or something. So here's the link. I'm going now to the page where you're all at on Raw Life Health Show. And I'm going to put the link right here at the bottom. I'm posting that. Okay. And let me see if it took. So that link that I just posted, folks, is okay, it's there. If you click on that link, that should take you to the Google Plus page. And if you go to that Google Plus page, you can click on Q&A up there. But what I'm trying to do is invite you to the actual page, invite you to the actual event. I don't see where the link is for that, so we'll have to try that out another time. We'll figure that one out another time. But basically, maybe that helps. I don't know. You guys could figure out, but I thought it went pretty smooth here tonight with what we covered here. So did all you guys love it? No. Okay. Let me stop. Okay. Let me move the hearts. There you go. And if you have any comments or questions and you didn't get to answer this, I'll try to get to them next time. If you're a member of the Raw Life Health Show, we got more Q&A that I'm going to put up there try to get up there for tomorrow. It's just late tonight, so maybe this might just be it for this week. But I want to answer as many questions as possible. I'm going to have future guests come on. I'm going to have some great guests on the show. Now that I'm learning this, this Google Hangouts, we'll be doing more webinars and seminars and webinars and all that good stuff. So folks, thanks for joining us tonight. And until then, everybody, have a great day, a great night, and a great world life. And thanks for your patience. This was the first time we did this Google Hangout, and we'll be doing more in the future. So next time, tell a friend about it, pass along the emails, and until then, good night, folks.